I listen to radio quite a lot, and I was listening recently to a program that was talking about your inner voice. And what they meant by your inner voice was the voice in your head that talks to you, or your voice that's talking to you in your head when nobody else can hear. And quite surprisingly, they said that some people have an inner voice that talks all the time, but some people apparently don't do it very much at all, which I found really hard to imagine, because as far as I'm concerned, there's always something going on in my head. It's chatting away, and if there's nothing chatting away, then there's at least a song playing somewhere in the background. And I thought about it a little bit more, and what they said was there was a researcher who was trying to do some research on it to find out about people's inner voice, but obviously it's quite hard to do because you can't hear it except for yourself. So what he was doing is he was giving his subjects an alarm that went off at random times in the day. And when it went off, their job was to write down exactly what their inner voice or what they were thinking about in their minds at the time. And I thought, oh, if I was in that subject, it'd be great. I'd be great material, because I've always something going on in my head. I've always something writing down. I could put something down. And then I thought, yeah, but if I was really honest about what I was actually thinking about, and he took that and read it, would he know that I was a Christian? And to be honest, that was a lot more worrying. And so what I thought today is you could help me out, okay? In Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brothers and sisters, because we've been talking about some other things, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So in the Bible, God is saying to us that he wants us to think about good things and positive things, encouraging things. And so today I thought we could just get into little groups, and perhaps you could have a little chat about some ways that you could come back, feedback to me, and how I could help fill my mind with good things, okay? For example, there's two kind of ways of doing this. There's filling your mind with good things and also trying to avoid less good things, I think. So, for example, I think Ant was talking last week about somebody who put post-it notes up around their house with Bible verses, and every time they went past, they could read the Bible verse and say, and if your alarm went off at that point, you'd go, ha, I was thinking about a Bible verse. So that's one way, perhaps. And other ways of avoiding things. So I know I already do this, is I try and avoid bushy arches as much as possible. I don't know about you, but there's this one junction coming from Watford where people try and push in, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot stop getting angry at them, and I'm tailgating the next person. So I just avoid it if I can, bushy arches now. So I either go past Costco if I want to go that way, or I go up Whippendale Roadway, that one. And that's just one way that I've found that actually kind of helps me to avoid getting road rage, because if the alarm went off in the middle of that, I tell you, what I was thinking wouldn't be very pleasant at all. So if you can get to a few groups, just have a little chat among you about things, positive things, ways that you can put positive thoughts, godly thoughts in your mind. Have a chat. Perhaps you've got ways you already do, and also about things, perhaps way of avoiding things as well. And then Toby's going to help me by coming around in a few minutes and just seeing if you want to share back. And Toby, do you want to come and get my phone? Would you like to share? Let's one hand up there already. Toby's going to bring it around.
That's what we're doing.
It's on. Try again. Is that my kind distractions as well, perhaps to avoid when you've got negative feelings? Okay, so thank you for that. I'm going to have a little think about some of those myself. And I think it's important to remember that we're a process. It's not that we have to, and not beat ourselves too much up about it when we feel like we're failing, but just try and do bits step by step to come. God wants us to become more like Jesus. He doesn't expect us to become like Jesus today or tomorrow, but gradually more and more like Jesus. So it's important that we do put measures in place to become more like Jesus. And this one thing is trying to think about perhaps things, as we say, what we think about, what we listen to, the way that we think about other people, perhaps. One thing I was suggesting is, I know that we're all very quick, often people are very quick to judge other people we don't know. So one suggestion for me is when you meet a new person, or just see someone in the street, is automatically to try and think something good about that person. So the first thing you think about is try and think of a compliment towards them. So you're not automatically judging them for perhaps something that they're wearing or they're doing or something like that. And that way automatically try and get your mind into a positive thought towards different people. And also imagine that people on the road, that you know them. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where I've been in this situation where I've been quite cross about someone who's trying to do something to me on the road, and I've looked at them and I know them. And suddenly it's like, oh, hi, you go first, and suddenly it completely changes the whole thing like that. So perhaps you maybe think about that, if I knew this person, how would I react, kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm just going to pray, and then the music group's going to come up. Lord, I just thank you that you want us to change. You don't want us to leave us in a place where perhaps we do have negative thoughts, or we're not thinking your ways, Lord. Just thank you, you care about us enough to change us. And Lord, I pray that you will help us to find different ways of doing that. Perhaps we want to take something away from today that we've heard from somebody else that we might think, oh, we could try that. And just to make our minds more and more like you every day. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.